solo terrorist, a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. And at age 16, Ted released his first book, titled In Satan's Footsteps. He followed that up with a best-selling work with his father, and this is at the age of 18, called For God or for Tyranny, When Nations Deny God's Natural Law. Talks about in America and how many Western nations seem to desire to move away from their Judeo-Christian foundations, and they embrace multiculturalism. This book gives all the answers to dispel the anti-God myths and equips people to stand for their Judeo-Christian heritages. Welcome to the Commandos Radio Show, Ted.
Thanks for having me on, sir.
Well, I want to talk about an article you wrote recently, and it's about the slaughtering of Christians by the thousands in Nigeria. You know, most of America's media is focused on ISIS, but I'll let you take it from there. But it sounds like the slaughtering in Nigeria is much worse.
Well, it is worse. You've had more people, more Christians brutally slaughtered. And just a number of days ago, Shubat.com, our website, we published an article about the massacre of a certain Christian church in Nigeria. They call it the EYN, which stands for Ecclesiasen Yauna Nigeria, which is it's really like it's like an evangelical church movement in Nigeria, and they have multiple locations throughout the country of Nigeria. And from the beginning of the insurgency to now, in the past few years, really, Boko Haram has managed to kill 8,000 members of the EYN. This is just one church alone, one church establishment alone in Nigeria, 8,000. And according to one report, it says that according to a man named Daniel Kazer, who was addressing the newsman at the premises of the EYN in Nigeria, they said that they have 270 branches of the church, and they have been destroyed. 270 locations in Nigeria, all destroyed. 45 out of 50 district councils have been affected, meaning they've been sacked, they've been attacked by militias, Boko Haram militias. And people are wondering, why is Nigeria so bad? And it's not just the EYN. It's also these other horrific massacres that have taken place. Just today, they killed 6 people, I believe all of them Christian, in the village of Shami. They also burned down several churches in the village of Shami. There was one story we reported a number of weeks ago in which there was a pastor who was attacked by Boko Haram Muslims in Nigeria. They went into the village, they began to shoot at random people, and then they entered the church. The pastor and his 2 children were in the home. They tied them up with a rope. Then they hacked them with machetes. They were still alive after they hacked them with machetes, and they drowsed them up with gasoline, and they burned them alive. And they burned the entire house. By the time the locals came into the church, all 3 of them, really I would say the whole family, was reduced to nothing but ashes. This is the type of things that happen in Boko Haram. Then there was the area of Mubi. Many people aren't talking about the area of Mubi in Nigeria. Mubi is a predominantly Christian province in Nigeria, a very large province. Recently, it was taken under the complete jurisdiction and control of Boko Haram. The Boko Haram jihadists, they put blockades throughout the area. So when you're driving down the road, you have to stop at a blockade, and they question you. They question you on your religious beliefs. And what they do is they tell you, can you repeat to me the Shahadatan? There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. In Arabic. If you are not able to say the Shahadatan, they shoot you right on the spot. Now what does the Shahadatan signify? There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. What does the scripture say about the mark of the beast? It is a blasphemous declaration. A blasphemous declaration. And what does John the Apostle tell us in 1 John chapter 2? It says, who is the Antichrist? The one who denies that Jesus is the Christ, the one who denies the Father and the Son. He is Antichrist. So when you declare the Shahadatan, you are denying Jesus Christ. You are saying that God is not Trinity. Because the Muslims, the entire Islamic theology, was founded on the rejection of the Holy Trinity, that God became man, the incarnation. And what you are declaring when you declare the Shahadatan is that God is not triune. In fact, Muhammad said, I come to kill those who say that God is begotten and that God begets, meaning that God has a son and that the Father is of one substance with the Son. He is one with his Son. So when you declare the Shahadatan, you are rejecting the Holy Trinity.
Pause, and I want people to grasp this, because I think most of America just relates to Boko Haram and the kidnapping of a couple hundred girls earlier this year, and Michelle Obama tweeting out and on Facebook little placards and that kind of thing. But this is much deeper, isn't it? This is genocide of the highest order.
Yes, in fact, a number. You speak of the girls, the 300 or so girls who were kidnapped. The majority of them were Christians. The media wasn't so bold on this, but most of them were Christians. And there was one of them escaped, and they interviewed her, and she said that one of the Muslim men who was ruling over her said, "You Christians worship 3 gods," and this is how Muhammad saw the Trinity. This is a polytheistic, idolatrous belief. So the Muslims, they see the Trinity as idolatry. In fact, when ISIS and Jabhat al-Nusra and these other Muslim terrorist groups in Syria and Iraq, when they invade Christian villages, one of the first things they tell the Christians is, reject the idolatry of Christianity. And so when they told this girl in Nigeria, you worship 3 gods, she began to explain to this jihadist the nature of the Trinity. And he was so upset that he took a stick and he beat her over and over again until she collapsed unconsciously. And in fact, the head of Boko Haram, Abu Bakr Shakal, this is what he said just in July of this year. I'll read it to you. He said, "Gentlemen," this was a command to his men. He said, "Gentlemen, kill, 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 kill Christians." Those are his exact words. And then he continued on to say, "This war is against Christians. I mean Christians generally." And then he began to mock Michelle Obama, saying, quote, "You have been going around saying, bring back our girls, bring back our army." So they're laughing at the Obama administration. They see this Bring Back Our Girls campaign that Michelle Obama hashtagged on Twitter as a joke. They mock it. But more significantly than that, they are specifying that their war is against Christianity. In fact, this can be connected to Obama's family himself. Why? There was a number of interviews that were done of Obama's relatives. For one, his cousin, Musa Obama, and for one, his brother, I believe Malik Obama is his name. They interviewed his cousin, Musa, in a newspaper, I believe it was a Saudi newspaper in Kenya, where he comes from, where his family is located. And he said in this interview, he said, "We are trying to de-Christianize Africa. We are trying to de-Christianize Kenya." And Malik Obama, his brother, he works with who? Omar al-Bashir, the Muslim dictator in North Sudan. And he works with Omar al-Bashir in what is called in Khartoum, which is the capital of North Sudan, called the Islamic Dawah Organization. He, in fact, is the head secretary of the Islamic Dawah Organization in Khartoum, North Sudan. Their job is to bring people into Islam in Africa. And Omar al-Bashir, the man he works for, has slaughtered Christians throughout the Nuba Mountains, Christians living near the Blue Nile, all of these regions. His Air Force bombs them, and you can talk to any Christian in North Sudan and he will tell you this, that Omar al-Bashir regime is against Christians. And yet Obama's family is working with these people. And guess what happened also in Kenya? Just a few days ago, Al-Shabaab, which is really the Boko Haram of Kenya, they are really, you can say, an African branch of Al-Qaeda. They went into a bus in a Christian area and they said, all of the Christians, they call them crusaders, leave the bus. And they left the bus, and the only ones who survived were the ones who could recite Quranic verses in Arabic, and those people were Muslim. So the Muslims got out free. The rest, 28 people, all slaughtered.
Ted,
and this is going on in
Kenya. Just a little bit. We want to continue this conversation, but we're coming up against a heartbreak. Can you stay with us?
No problem.
Yes, this is JD and Kevin Wade. We're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia. Around the world on the Internet with our new Internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, LeadingEdgeRadioNetwork.com, and VigilantLibertyRadio.us. Now you can listen to the Concerted Commander radio show anytime, any day by calling 832-999-1199. And also, please check out our website, ConcertedCommandosRadioshow.com and CCRShow.com.
They say I'm crazy. I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but
This is the Taxpayer Minute, brought to you by Americans for Prosperity.
New Jersey is known for a lot of things. Our shore, not pumping our own gas, our malls, the Jersey tomato, and the worst state to die in. New Jersey is behind the times when it comes to death taxes, as 31 states have neither an estate nor inheritance tax. New Jersey is only one of 2 states that have both of these arbitrary taxes on the books. This is just one more reason for our retired to move to another state so loved ones are not taxed on things they worked hard for their entire lives. Our farming communities would certainly be most affected by the elimination of the estate tax. Instead of their next of kin being walloped with a tax bill they cannot afford, by eliminating the estate tax will allow them to pass down their large land holdings to their family and keep the property as farmland. Learn how to pressure our lawmakers to kill the death tax at taxpayerminute.com. That's taxpayerminute.com.
This has been the Taxpayer Minute, brought to you by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, this is Bob Viden, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Thanks for staying with us. You are listening to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. I'm Kevin Wade. By JD here. We're mid-interview. JD, would you pick it up? We're having a fascinating interview about the rampage of Boko Haram in Nigeria. JD?
And the very name Boko Haram, doesn't that stand for their hate of Western and Christian values? Can you talk a little bit about just the very name they have?
Yes, actually, haram is an Arabic word, means sin. And I believe Boko means against. So the Boko Haram is actually the short way of saying the full name. The full name is actually Western education is forbidden. And if you want to get into the Arabic, the whole name of the whole group is called Jama'atu Ahli Sunnah Lida'awati wal Jihad, meaning people committed to the Prophet's teaching for propagation and jihad. And Boko Haram really is, you could say, it's a product of Saudi Arabia. It's a product of all of the madrasa schools that have been propagated and expanded throughout Nigeria to bring people into Islam, all of the missionary work. You can say the same thing about Somalia. You can say the same thing about Kenya. Really, all of the jihadism taking place in Africa is a product of Saudi Arabia's measures and Saudi Arabia's expansion of Islamic inculcation